Welcome to FT Markets. The 160th meeting of Opec is over, and it lived up to its billing as the most important meeting since the financial crisis. In spite of plunging oil prices, which have fallen to 4-year lows, the cartel decided, surprisingly, not to cut production. Here to discuss what it means is Anjli Raval, oil and gas correspondent. So, Anjli, the decision yesterday. Has OPEC decided that the best way to deal with the growing supply glut in the world oil market is actually lower prices and not cutting production as it's so often done in the past?
Well, we've talked to a lot of analysts who have, spoken to the Saudis, but also really utter the views of other Gulf producers. And I think there is this idea that cutting production right now would only be a temporary fix. Prices might go back up to, let's say, 90, but then they would possibly have to cut again and again in time to come.
Is that because demand is weak and the US, you would just incentivise production to come back on if you got the price up to 90?
Exactly. Demand is still weak. I think people are still unsure as to sort of how the demand picture will play out in time to come. And as a result, they may have to face cutting again.
So, I mean, this is quite a sort of a seismic shift, I guess, by OPEC. I mean, they've really thrown down the gauntlet, I guess, in particular to the US shale industry. So, I mean, from that perspective, do you think we've entered a new era for oil markets here? I mean, have things radically changed? Have people got to look again at, oil markets, which we can see from some of the charts? Brent is down at a 4-year low. We've also seen WTI. I mean, that's collapsed below $70 a barrel now. I mean, is this the new normal? Are lower prices the new normal?
I think we have a sense now of the stance that particularly Saudi Arabia and fellow Gulf producers actually want to take. I don't think they are willing to be the swing producer anymore. And I think there is this sense that, look, there is all this new production coming from the US. There's also more expensive production, whether it be deep water, Arctic, that is also out there. And really there is this sense that, well, actually, yes, OPEC might be there to fill the gap when there are supply disruptions, but in an oversupplied market, do they actually want to be the ones that cut? And the latest movements from yesterday's meeting suggest that actually the answer is no.
Do you think OPEC, with its actions yesterday, have declared a price war, or is that just an unhelpful way to think about things?
Some people who we spoke to yesterday did indeed say this is a price war. This is OPEC, attacking higher cost producers, particularly US shale producers. But others have also said the outcome was probably, as much to do with the internal dynamics of OPEC and how there is a real conflict between low-cost producers that have these big foreign exchange reserves, such as Gulf producers, and they're looking for the long term. They're playing a long-term strategy, whereas others, such as Venezuela and Iran, they are looking for a short-term strategy to really help them, given that they're going through a real sort of economic turmoil in their countries.
So just one final point then. I mean, lots of people have said as a result of this meeting, OPEC's lost its influence. But I mean, yet if we glance at a chart of how the biggest oil companies in the UK are performing, I mean, you can see that sell-off at the end. That would suggest to me, and also what we've seen with the oil prices, that it's none of its influence really. I mean, it's moved a very, very big, important market in quite a big way in the last day or so.
Exactly. The oil price completely tanked last night, and also we've seen energy stocks dropping overnight and this morning as well. And really, if we looked at how much attention was being paid to the meeting yesterday, how many journalists were present, I mean, everyone wants to know what these countries are thinking, what OPEC is thinking. So in that sense, I don't think it has lost its relevance.
Okay, Anjli, thank you very much. So OPEC's over, and it does indeed look like we could have entered a new era for oil prices, one in which they remain below $100 for quite some time.